And here's the intro to part two, picking up pretty much immediately after we stopped. It's cut pretty thin, so thanks, guys. Um,
Yeah.
but I will say that so the dolls are your sort of narrators for the game, and you are going to hate them. They are creepy as fuck.
Oh man, I gotta say, the first time I laid eyes on them, I got some serious Angela Anaconda vibes, and it creeped me right out.
Yeah, they are like
Those faces, man.
there are some seriously like, all right, I didn't want this. I didn't want this at all. Uh, but the cool thing is so we've covered the story. We've gone over the mechanics that you were going to expect. So is there PvP on launch? I guess would be a question, kind of as a follow up.
That we still have no idea about.
Okay, so we
To
don't know
my
if they're pushing it
knowledge,
up.
to my knowledge, it should be there at launch because they have discussed Coliseum. They just haven't given us time slots yet. With JP, when that game launched and the server issues, they actually didn't give us the PvP system until quite a good amount of time had passed and things had stabilized. And they were still working on it, from what I remember. The North American version, Global, when that releases, the system's done. It works. They just have to figure out what they're doing with time slots.
Yeah,
And that is, I think, the single I talked to you about this before, and I talk about it at least in the SinoAlice Discord. There's at least one conversation every day talking about why guilds and Coliseum make this game so much different than anything else. And it's something that really, you got to take everything you know about a guild system from other games and just kind of throw it out the window because it does not apply.
no. From what I've read and what Xant's told me, like the Coliseum in this game is there are 15 of you. There are 9 supports. There's 6 DPS. There are several time slots during the day, supposedly. We don't know how it'll work out on launch. And all of you have to be around for one of them. And it's, what, 15 to 30-ish minutes?
Yeah, and it's you have to dedicate that entire time slot to just playing SinoAlice along with your entire guild. And if you miss that time slot, like you'll have an AI fight instead of you, but you'll learn very quickly playing in the story mode and watching, your AIs and stuff fight. AI in that game is just not that great.
The AI
It's
is the literal gerbil in the wheel. Like, they're just hitting buttons.
Yeah. So with SinoAlice, it's best to find a guild that's Coliseum time zone matches with yours, so that way you can actually actively participate. And Coliseum, unfortunately, is the fastest way to progress through the game and get content and improve in terms of PvP. Anyways, there's a lot of things in there in the Coliseum shops to exchange for that. It will make your PvP life a lot easier. But overall, the hardest part, I think, for people that just pick up this game to start playing it is the Coliseum, because they're like I said, there's only a few time slots. You have to dedicate the entire time of the fight to just sitting there and playing SinoAlice for it. And that can be a real drainer. That's why personally I stopped playing the JP version of SinoAlice, was after a few months had passed and we'd gotten our hands on Coliseum and I had played it, the time zone of the rest of my guild and me just didn't quite match up. And I was constantly missing it, and we were losing fights, and we weren't getting what we needed to exchange in the shop. And it just got to the point where I just couldn't keep playing it because it was demanding a lot and it wasn't working in my time zone. And that's just something I think people overlook, is the best way I think to put it. Because we're in the Discord, we get asked constantly, can you open the guild channel so we can start building our guilds? And we keep having to say, any guild you make now will most likely fall apart once the time slots are announced. Because unless every single person in your guild has the exact same schedule right this second, the chance of them being able to fully commit is so infinitely slim. But I'm really looking forward to it because the Coliseum was fun, and there's a lot of really nice team interaction stuff to do in there, and you can really build off each other. And even if you're completely free to play, if you and your guild members actually strategize and talk over like what you're going to be doing and stuff before a fight starts, you will do extremely well, because communication is definitely key when it comes to SinoAlice's Coliseum.
Yeah, and it's that's the one thing that I wanted to make sure that we had sort of with a big sticker, and I'm probably going to put air horns on either side of this part of the conversation so people know that you should probably pay attention to this the most. But this is sort of where, like, you can't look at the game and go, this is the best weapon, this is the best job, this is the best thing, because one, you're probably only going to be able to play 2 to 3 jobs, and it's generally going to be with what you're comfortable with anyway. Like, I played Breaker for a little while and it was fine, but like I liked Gunner way more as a DPS class as far as aesthetics go. So like you need to find something that you like. Like this is really, it's not quite Fate as far as like pick your waifu and run wild, because sometimes your waifu doesn't play the way you want it to. Which is a very bizarre sentence to say out loud. I do want to say this in retrospect.
Any gacha game, especially one that so heavily relies on your draws like this game, sometimes you're not going to be able to pick the class you play. The class is going to pick you because that's what the gacha gives you. But over time, you put enough hours into SinoAlice, you get enough of those free gems, and you roll the gacha enough times, you'll be able to play whatever class you want, whatever job you want, whatever role you want. Will you be able to play it at top tier? Probably not without spending, unless you're a real luck sack. But absolutely, this game can totally be played with just your favorite, like I said before, pick your favorite, your wifey, your husband, or whatever. You pick it, you play it, you'll most likely succeed and do very well for yourself in the game, right? Unless you start spending mad amounts of money, you're never going to be able to rank very high in Coliseum unless you're lucky. So don't take it too hard when you're not succeeding, like completely stomping in Coliseum. That's just the way the game functions. Play it, have fun, look at Coliseum as a way to slowly earn currency for other jobs and weapons and things like that. And you'll find the game is just a lot more enjoyable when you get rid of that whole pressure to succeed in PvP off your shoulders.
Yeah, and that was the one thing, because that was a big question, because I was talking to a couple of people in our Discord, and they were like, all right, well, what should we expect out of the game? And I was like, well, it's not flavor of the week, pull the strongest character until the next strongest character comes out, because like a lot of the things are either side grades, and even stats wise, like it depends on what role you're playing, and it depends on sort of where your comfort zone is, because it does use rock paper scissors. It is 3 element. It is ye old Fire Emblem. It is like it's
to get into kind of semi spoiler territory with the game. There are specific jobs that are designed for PvP.
Yes.
These jobs are earned through playing the Coliseum and getting the coins for it, and Grand Coliseum, which is like a ranked version of Coliseum. Because there's the kind of the free range Coliseum you can play with your guild, and there's Grand Colo.
And those are like the half nightmares and all of those, right?
Yes, the half nightmare jobs. And those ones, when you max out their job levels, they give real big boosts to their specialty weapon or their specialized weapon, whatever. And those are the ones you want to aim for if you're going to really be doing PvP. So the game is not flavor of the month. Only with the spec weapon gachas could you even start to consider it flavor of the month. But it's not worth fretting over. You see a character job that you like, you roll for it. If you get it, cool. If you don't, you're not really going to suffer that much unless you really wanted the character, in which case my heart goes out to you.
Yeah, if you don't get the waifu, I feel bad, but you got to keep rolling, bro.
Yeah, the game does have a very healthy pity system. It uses medallions that you get 100 of every time you do a multi. At 1,500 medallions, you can just trade for the character job in the exchange store, and that's it. You're good.
Oh, shit, that's wild. I didn't know that. So you could, if there's something that's in the pool, you can just be like, I wanted that.
So if you have, it's what, 300, so 10, 15, man, my brain is just not functioning.
It's math,
4,500. Yeah, 4,500, I think is the number, is the 4,500 should yield you 15. Yeah, 300. So 4,500 crystals. At 300 crystals a 10 draw. Every 10 draw gives you your 100 medallions. So 4,500, you get 1,500 medallions. Go to the exchange store. You can pick any of the current, at least for the banner that you were rolling on, you can pick the rate up characters, the weapons, or Nightmare. There's a couple of caveats to this. First, if you pick the character weapon through this method, you do not get the job. you just get the weapon. If you
Oh,
pick the character, you do not get the weapon. You just get the
get the
job.
job. That's crazy. Well, I mean, I guess in some instances, like obviously pulling it on the gacha is better, but if you're not necessarily looking for the weapon as much as the job,
That's another thing, and it's a
yeah,
blessing in a
that's a
way.
definitely weird layer to add to that.
Yeah, the blessing is though is that typically the character job weapons are not amazing. They're
Yeah.
good, but they're not amazing. So even if you just get the job and you don't get the weapon, you're not losing out on a bunch. You just, you had to spend 1,500, medals to get it, a lot of crystals. But the game is generous. It does give a lot of crystals as long as you play consistently.
Oh,
You
that
will
actually
find.
brings up another thing that I wanted to ask you
Hmm,
that I think might be important. So,
shoot.
daily investment. So, like, if you want to do well in Grand Cross, you're gonna have to auto the game for 4 or 5 hours a day. If you want to do
Oh
good at
God, no.
War of the Visions, you auto it for an hour. If you want to be really good at Pitter Patter Pop, you play it for 10 minutes a day, and you're usually pretty fine. So, like,
So
where does this one fall?
SinoAlice is actually pretty light in comparison to those games. So you have your stamina bar, and you can dump that very quickly. When an event is running, you can pretty much instantly zero that out, no effort at all. Then you have what's called, I can't remember the exact term. It's cleaning or something, but it's a mini game. It summons a whole bunch of ghosts, and you just kind of drag your finger across the screen and
Oh,
try to kill them
that's
in
the
color
Trace
order.
one. That one's really cool. That's actually
Yeah,
super fun.
and every ghost that you kill, you get stamina points back. So you can do that, and it levels you up. It gets you your stamina back, the whole 9 yards, and you get a certain amount of those every day. So you can
And you're
actually
gonna get
play.
like you're gonna get very competitive at trying to get as many ghosts as possible because that game's kind of
Yeah,
wild. It's really fun.
it's a fun mini game.
Also, drag your finger, don't tap.
Yeah, no, tapping is useless. You want to drag because it also gives you a combo based on if you match the same colors, it gives you a better combo. So if you have like 3 blue and 2 reds, you do the 2 reds and then 3 blues, right? But you also have to remember it actually takes travel time for your character to get from point A to point B. So you have to kind of make sure that you're doing it in the most efficient way possible so your character moves the least amount to get between everything. There's a lot of like min
Yeah,
maxing for
it's
that. You can
for it
really
being
get.
like a free thing that you can do a couple times a day. It's got some like high level IQ nonsense to it. Like it's kind of nuts.
You gotta have a pretty high IQ. Yeah,
You can't be that smooth brain. You can't be working with that lizard brain today, baby.
yeah, so you can easily fill up your stamina and level. You'll have lots of stamina to play with if you want to, but it is really quick to just dump your stamina out. And because every mission has challenges that when you clear it, you get crystals for the gacha, right? There's tons of story missions to do for these things. Every event comes packed to the brim with challenges that you can do for crystals. You just sit down, you play the game for like an hour a day, you're pretty much good. Like it doesn't require a huge amount of time investment. If you want to sit down and keep playing the game, don't let anybody stop you. But it doesn't require a ton of investment to stay on top of your stamina. It doesn't take a ton to stay up on top of all the dailies and things like that. So in general, I'd say it's a very lightweight game in terms of time investment. It's definitely no Fate Grand Order. That game,
No.
oh boy, that can take. I don't actually know what I'm going to do in Fate Grand Order. I have too much stamina. I don't think I could use it all in a lifetime. Um, it's not like Gunpla Warfare. It's very light, very easy to kind of dump all your stamina out, and you get great. I guess returns is the best way to put it for putting in the hour or two a day to just dump your stamina out. So yeah, and then obviously your Coliseum investment, that's going to be the biggest one because that does require you to kind of drop everything and just do SinoAlice for the Coliseum time slot. And then once that's done, you're a free boy. You can go do whatever you want.
You're a free man.
Yeah.
You don't even have to wear pants.
What, you think I'm wearing pants?
Oh no. Well, it's the joy of YouTube, right? It's ye old teleconference meeting. Like I've got a button up and a tie on, but I'm in my underwear. And the one thing that I do want to sort of circle back on is that a lot of these characters have multiple jobs. So like for example, like Cinderella doesn't have a mage, but she's got 5 gunners. And they're all different. They all look different. They all sort of gunner plays pretty much the same no matter what version of the character you have. They'll just be different abilities for the most part. So like if you know you want to be like a breaker and you don't get the breaker you're looking for, practice. Like, you will eventually get the one you're looking for. I mean, and the reroll system in the beginning of this game is stupid easy. It's literally the first thing you do in the game.
That is something that when this game released, I had nothing but praise for. So the way that it works, you download the game, you download like an 80 megabyte asset pack.
Maybe 80 megs.
Yeah, you get greeted with the stupid creepy dolls, you get the curtain, and you get the starting gacha, and it's just you roll. And
so
go,
I
do you like your roll? Yes,
I was timing
no,
myself on Mimu when I was doing it. And I can do a reroll. I can reroll, check the jobs, delete it, install, reroll in about like 3.5 minutes. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. And I'm all on board with Xan on that one. It's one of the easiest, most intuitive reroll systems we've ever had.
I don't know if I'd say the most intuitive.
Well, Black Clover was one of the most intuitives because you just got to reroll in game until you got what you wanted. Except that the Black Clover game was dog shit.
Did you play the Tales of Crestoria network test that they did a couple of weeks ago, or I guess a month ago at this point?
I was going to, and then for whatever reason I ended up busy during the time period, so I didn't end up getting to play it.
Long and short, you get your starting roll, and then they give you an SSR pick ticket, or not an SSR, sorry, a pick ticket, and you can pick any 5-star or 4-star and start the game with your beginning roll, that character, and then you get enough currency for another couple of 10 rolls, and they just shoo you off into the game and say, go have fun.
Yeah, I think Dragalia Lost has come a really long way as far as that goes, too. Because, like, when you start the game, they're like, hey, what character do you want? And, like, 6 of the starting characters you get are, like, top 12 in the game. So you're like, all right, yeah, I'll do that. I want that.
I want to play Dragalia Lost. I don't even want to talk about that game.
It's a surprisingly fun game.
I spent 16 hours rerolling to try to get a dragon and a character. And yeah, no dice, no SSR, no dragons at the same time. And after 16 hours, I said, I'm done. I just uninstalled. I never looked back.
Fun fact, that's what I ended up doing that for War of the Visions, Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. I was looking for a double SSR, so I was going for Medina, who is a mage, and Engelbert, who's a main tank. And it took me 72 account rerolls, and that's 3 10 pulls per account. And it took me almost 18 hours combined to do it. And it was the most... Don't do it! Just don't do it! Just play the damn game!
Down to. Yeah. That is... Yeah.
And, like, so... And the cool thing about rerolling, and I'm going to do a video later in the week about it, so, like, I'll actually show you guys how to reroll, is, like, the 2 dolls are kind of funny. So, like... There's a couple of motions for, like, guaranteed SSRs that are the coolest thing ever. So, like, there's a male doll and a female doll. And, like, the books will drop, and if they're brown, they're regular, and if they're kind of glowy gold and silver, they're an SSR. And you'll get the pile of books, and then the doll will either be like, all right, this is what you got, and you go to your pulls, or there'll be an animation. So the girl doll will, like, karate chop the shit out of him, and he pukes up a book. And you're like, okay, that was a little unsettling, and it's always a guaranteed SSR. She does a light speed kick, so if the top book is brown and you get a guaranteed SSR, she kicks the book into him, he explodes into pieces, and then another book drops from the ceiling. And then my favorite one is the Shungoku Satsu, like Akuma's final move from Street Fighter. Like, she does the little teleport towards him, the screen goes black, you see all the beat-ups, and he is dead. He is dead on the ground, and then you have a shiny book in front of you. Like, it's the stupidest thing I've ever seen, but it's such a cool little touch of animation to a gacha summon. And I assume they add more? I don't know.
I think there's, like, 7 to 8 different animations that they have for when you pull down, like, the rope snapping.
Yeah.
Like you said, you know, the dolls beating each other up or kicking a book off the shelf to behead the other one.
That was wild the first time I saw it.
Yeah, but they all mean different things. If the rope snaps, guaranteed SS, or I guess SR in global.
4-star, yeah.
Not sure. Yeah. Oh, no, it's a guaranteed, like, top tier.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, in Japan it was SS, but I guess they...
I think they usually rename them for globals because, like, MRs get turned into SRs, etc. So
yeah,
or SSRs.
Yeah, but anyways, Like you got the rope snaps, you have screen fading black, all the punches, you have the top book, only if it's not a silver one, the top book getting kicked off, beheading the other one, and the silver book falls in its place. There's all sorts of animations, they all mean different things. Yeah, the gacha is very, very interesting.
Yeah, the pull is weird. Also, it's just pure puppet on puppet violence, which is pretty nuts.
Yeah.
And I think so. What else do we have? So we've gone over resources. So for the most part, you're not going to be able to max every role. Just to kind of recap. So you want to pick something you're comfortable with, or the waifu you want to play, and you just want to roll down that. Because unless you're going hardcore into PvP, none of that matters anyway. And PvP is insanely competitive from what I've heard.
At the higher levels, PvP is disgusting. I think is the easiest way to put it. Because that's where the people that have just dumped money into the game live.
Ye old whales.
Yeah, and unfortunately, this is a pure numbers game. You are never going to be able to make up that difference by playing better. If a whale that barely knows how he plays the game but has all of his gear completely maxed out faces you, you're done. And there's nothing you can do to change that outcome. Obviously, vice versa, if your numbers are better, you're most likely going to win, right? But PvP in SinoAlice, if you decide to take it seriously and you want to compete for like the top 1000, you're in for an uphill battle if you're free to play. That's really all I have to say.
Yeah, like you're going to hit your plateau very quickly, and that is where you are most likely going to live for a while.
If you ever move up, it is savage, especially considering once people get their hands on the half nightmare jobs, it's just going to become a bigger gap for people.
Yeah, half nightmare seems to really compound the problem, but that's the benefit of being good at something or dumping money into a pay-to-win system,
But that is why I also said, if you just forget about Coliseum, don't take it seriously, and play it when you have the time slot active, just play it for the coins, you'll have a great time, because then you're just worrying about the story, you're worrying about the events, and it is a much more comfortable game like that. If you start fretting about your PvP ranking and everything, it's going to get to you.
Well, it's like every other ladder rank system. Like, eventually, the ladder doesn't break, you do. So you have to sort of figure out what you're willing to give up to do that kind of thing.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't have anything against ladder systems, but only in ladder systems where skill determines it. Because if you have the ability to sit down, like Counter-Strike or Dota, or you have the time to sit down and you play it and you practice and
you literally just named 2 of the games that I've got thousands of hours in, and I hate it.
Yeah, I know, you see yourself in that post and you just want to delete it, but it's when you have the ability to improve your ranking by getting better, I'm totally on board. But once it turns into something like this, where the ranking system is fully dominated by someone that has gear and you can't overcome it, like there's no plausible way to surpass that, that's where I start kind of having an issue with it. But from my time playing the game, from what I've heard from other players that are still actively playing it, it's a smart enough system. You don't find yourself getting absolutely curb stomped. So there's at least that.
All right, so we have waxed poetic for almost an hour at this point, which I'm totally down for. So I may split this up into 2 versions, but I'm probably just going to upload it raw because I'm a rebel like that. Fuck it. So is there anything, last words, coming from what a lot of the SinoAlice YouTubers consider the OG of the SinoAlice tier? Is there anything coming off that you would want a new player to know going in that we may not have crossed yet?
I don't know about not crossed, but just to summarize, don't fret so much about your beginning roles. Don't sweat it out about the Coliseum. Enjoy the game. Play with your favorites. You'll be able to clear the content without any difficulties. It's definitely a laid-back game, but it does have the options there for people that really want to dig their teeth in and play hard. That's all I'm going to say about it, because beyond that, I'd have to bring out a whole nother video.
Here's my chart and graph. See part 2 of my TED Talk. So that's it. So thanks, Xant, for sitting down with me. I know it was a little. I reached out to Xant about a week ago, and I was like, "Hey, I'm actually picking up SinoAlice, and I wanted to sit down with somebody that actually knows the game, and people considers you, pretty highly in the community." And he was like, "I know about that shit," and I was like, "Okay."
I am on that. Oh yeah.
So I just wanted to say thanks for spending the time with me. I'm glad we've actually got to chit chat. We spent like 40 minutes when we were supposed to be recording just jaw jacking about gachas. So like it worked out, maybe not for the best, but it was a fun experience.
Yeah, that's a way to put it. Well,
So
thanks for having me on. It was definitely a good chat. We
yeah,
talked about too much.
yeah, and it's a good intro, like, because I think we covered we covered the intro of the game and sort of the mentality you want to have going into it. Like, if you approach it like a regular gacha, like Dokkan Battle or Legends or Grand Cross or any of the Final Fantasy games, and you're just like, I gotta have the new hotness, I gotta have the new flavor, you're probably not gonna have as good a time as if you just sort of go for what you want. So like, really feel this one out. This is sort of a Fate style thing. Like, figure out what role you like and who your waifu or husband of choice is, and just enjoy it.
Like, people will probably get on your case, like, oh, you have to roll the jobs because they give passive boost to everything. And it's like, if you just take a step back and look at it numerically, missing some jobs is just it's a drop in the ocean. It ain't gonna really change much. Like, again, I told you this earlier. You miss like 60 jobs. Okay, there's a big stat difference there. But since most of the jobs will get added to the standard pools anyways, there's a chance of you drawing them in the future.
Yeah, exactly. Like, other than limited units, which they don't seem to do a ton of, but I'm sure going into the future we will start seeing
something to bring up on that front. Thinking about limited units, I forgot to mention this when we were talking.
Oh, we did it.
There are some jobs that you can only get by paying.
Yes, they do have pay jobs. I was reading about that as well, and that kind of sucks. But those are those the half nightmare jobs, the sin ones, or what?
No. Those are typically just extra jobs that they have, and instead of putting into a gacha, they just put it in the store, and you get some crystals, you get the character card, you get, if I remember right, an Arcana card, which lets you limit break the job level, because that's a thing. Don't think jobs get off scot-free.
No, why would they?
Yeah, so if you're someone that wants to collect every job, you have quite the road ahead of you, and good luck is all I'm going to tell you.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a good thing that they give you the option to be like, if you see a job for sale for like 60 or 70 bucks, and you're like, well, how much am I really going to spend chasing it versus just buying it? So sometimes it works out in your favor.
Understand though, the ones that they have for sale aren't available in the gacha. You can only get them by paying.
Oh, they're sale only. Oh, all right. Well, good luck, sons and daughters.
And it's not like 60 or 70 bucks. I think right now they have one, and it's only like $20 or something like that.
Oh, that's not too bad.
It's not like, it's reasonable, it's better than, it's like a 10 roll or less on a gacha, right?
Yeah, and if you're looking for something that's comparable and you can just straight up buy it, why wouldn't you?
Well, exactly.
That's not too bad. So, this is the announcement. So, Fort Misery Gaming, Spoot in particular, myself, my own butt, I will be covering SinoAlice. We're going to start doing like character backgrounds and introductions, sort of a job overview video, and then I'm going to do a reroll later in the week for the launch on the 1st. It will be in Japanese. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I don't know why I said I was sorry. I'm really not sorry. But here we are. We live with our mistakes. Thank you, Xant, for spending the time. We've killed an hour of video that most of you will never get through, and I apologize to those of you that have made it this far. But I also congratulate you.
If they watch the whole video, they'll come out with a ton of information.
Yeah, honestly, like, even reading through some of the Reddit guides and everything, this was a significantly more comprehensive chunk of information than I think a lot of the guides really gave you through, because guides tend to be snapshots of time periods, whereas this was like, you covered, the first year and a half of the game, essentially.
Yeah.
All right, so keep an eye out for SinoAlice on mine. I will link all of Xant's information in his channel, so you can go watch him play Gundam, which is pretty sweet gunplay. What's the name of it again? Because I'm picking that up too, but I may or may not show that on the channel. That might be a guilty pleasure.
The full name is Gundam Battle Gunpla Warfare. It's just shortened to GBGW because it is a mouthful of a title.
Well, I mean, it's not like, Seven Deadly Sins Grand Cross with Dante from Devil May Cry or
Featuring Knuckles.
Featuring Knuckles. He doesn't chuckle, I hear. That was the last I heard. So thanks. If you want to see some more from us, if you're excited for SinoAlice and you want to know more specifically, you can leave us a comment in the video and, I'll try to get to him in a timely manner. I'm usually pretty good about answering those things, and if Xant's around, he can stare at you menacingly from a distance. Or answer his own questions. I ain't his boss. I can't tell him what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, do the thing. Go to Xant's channel. This man is awesome. I was really worried about reaching out to do a collab because most people are like, no, I don't have the time. And he was like, yeah, fuck it, I ain't doing anything. I was like, yay! So it's been a blast. I'm really glad to have actually sort of come in the tertiary sphere, so to speak. So that's it for me. You got anything else you want to tell anybody? You got anything coming up you're really happy to announce?
Nothing I can announce, unfortunately.
Do you have any secret projects that you aren't supposed to announce, apparently?
Yeah, that's exactly why.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
well, when he announces it, we'll come back on and we'll do another announcement of the announcement video.
Oh, no.
We're going to have a timer. Yeah, we're going to have a timer that counts down for 40 days. And at the end of it, you're going to be like, we have an announcement in 12 days.
Oh, no.
What a terrible thing.
I've become what I hated.
Well, listen, if it gets you a couple dollars, that's fine. So I'll make sure to leave all of Xant's stuff in the description, so make sure to check him out. And thanks for tuning in with us.
Thanks for watching, guys.